Host to camera. If World War III started tomorrow, most people would panic. Banks could freeze. Stock markets could crash. Supply chains could collapse overnight. And suddenly, your savings, your investments, your entire financial plan could be tested in ways no one alive has ever experienced. But here's the surprising part. History shows that some assets don't just survive wars. They explode in value. In fact, during major global conflicts, some investors lost everything. Others quietly built generational wealth. So the real question is, if a global war began tomorrow, what is the smartest order to invest your money? Not guesses. Not opinions. But strategies based on history, economics, and real wartime behavior. Today we're going to break down the first asset you must secure before anything else. The investment that skyrockets in almost every war. The one asset people rush into when currencies collapse. And the final long-term play that could create massive wealth after the war ends. Because if history teaches us anything, war destroys nations. But smart positioning can build fortunes. Let's begin. Chapter 1. The first rule of war investing. On-screen text. Rule number 1, survival comes before investing. Before we talk about stocks. Before gold. Before crypto. There's one investment that matters more than anything. Your survival buffer. Because in war, the first thing that breaks is normal life. During conflicts, ATMs run out of cash. Grocery shelves empty. Fuel becomes scarce. Supply chains collapse. In World War II, food rationing lasted years. In modern conflicts like Ukraine, entire cities experienced bank closures, cash shortages, currency instability. So the first investment isn't financial. It's preparedness. Priority number 1, emergency cash. Cash envelope system. You need physical liquidity. If digital banking freezes temporarily, cash becomes power. Experts recommend having 1 to 3 months of expenses in cash. Why? Because during panic, credit cards may not work. Transfers may freeze. But cash always moves. Priority number 2, essential supplies. Not glamorous, but critical. Things like food, water, medicine, fuel access, backup power. During war, these items become currency themselves. In some historical conflicts, people traded gold for food, jewelry for medicine, electronics for fuel. So before investing in markets, invest in resilience. Chapter 2. The asset that rises in almost every war. Now we move to the first true financial asset. And historically, it's one of the most consistent wartime investments ever. Gold. Why gold surges in war? Gold has one powerful trait. It is trust without a government. When war creates uncertainty, people abandon paper currencies. And they run to hard assets. Historical evidence. During World War I, gold demand skyrocketed. During World War II, governments stockpiled gold reserves. During the Cold War, gold became a global hedge. And during modern geopolitical crises, gold often spikes immediately. Why? Because gold is portable, recognized worldwide, not tied to one country's economy. How much gold? Many wealth advisors suggest 5 to 15% of your net worth. Forms to consider: physical coins, gold bars, gold ETFs. But in extreme scenarios, Physical gold has advantages. Comment below. Do you own gold already? Chapter 3. The investment governments spend trillions on. Now we move to something most people overlook. But historically, it has created massive investor returns during wars. Defense companies. War means military spending. When wars begin, governments increase military budgets dramatically. During World War II, the U.S. economy transformed into a war machine. Factories switched to producing tanks, aircraft, weapons, military vehicles. And the companies behind that production made enormous profits. Modern defense giants. Examples include companies like aerospace manufacturers, missile defense systems, cybersecurity contractors, drone technology firms. During global tensions, defense stocks often outperform because demand becomes guaranteed by governments. Key insight. Wars create government spending explosions. And government contracts can last decades. Chapter 4. The asset that protects you from currency collapse. Now let's talk about something controversial, but impossible to ignore. Digital assets. Specifically, Bitcoin. Why crypto becomes relevant. During wars, some currencies collapse. History shows this repeatedly. Examples. Hyperinflation. Capital controls. Banking restrictions. When governments limit withdrawals, people search for portable wealth. Crypto's unique advantages. Bitcoin is borderless, hard to confiscate, transferable globally, limited supply. In conflict zones today, some people use crypto to move wealth across borders. But there are risks. Crypto is volatile, and governments can regulate exchanges. So it should never be 100% of your strategy. But a small allocation can provide flexibility. Chapter 5. The silent winner of every major war. Now we reach something surprising. The asset class that has created the most long-term wealth after wars. Stocks. Yes. Even during the worst global conflicts. What history shows. After World War II, stock markets entered one of the greatest bull runs in history. Why? Because war forces innovation. Technologies developed for war often transform civilian life. Examples. Radar, modern aviation. Nuclear research, energy. Early computers, tech revolution. Internet, originally military. War accelerates technological breakthroughs. Post-war booms. Countries rebuilding infrastructure create. Construction booms. Manufacturing expansion. Technology growth. Consumer demand explosions. Investors positioned early often benefit. Chapter 6. The most overlooked wartime investment. Now let's talk about something rarely mentioned. Energy. Why energy becomes critical. Wars run on oil, natural gas, electricity, fuel, logistics. During major conflicts, energy supply becomes strategic. That means energy companies often gain massive influence and demand. Energy supply chains. Key sectors include oil producers, LNG exporters, pipeline companies, energy infrastructure. Energy scarcity often drives price spikes. And investors sometimes benefit from those moves. Chapter 7. Land and agriculture. Another historical wartime winner. Food production. Because during conflict, food becomes one of the most valuable commodities on earth. Why agriculture matters. War disrupts fertilizer production, shipping routes, Farming regions. Exports. Which leads to global food shortages. When supply drops, prices rise. Agricultural assets. Examples include farmland, agricultural companies, fertilizer producers, grain producers. Food security becomes a national priority. Chapter 8. The smart order to invest. Let's put everything together. If a global war began tomorrow, here is the logical investment order. Step 1. Emergency cash. Step 2. Essential supplies. Step 3. Precious metals. Step 4. Defense sector exposure. Step 5. Energy assets. Step 6. Agriculture/food production. Step 7. Selective crypto allocation. Step 8. Long-term global equities. Because historically, wars create 3 phases. Keycap 1 panic. Keycap 2 economic mobilization. Keycap 3 post-war boom. Smart investors prepare for all 3. Chapter 9. The biggest mistake people make. The biggest financial mistake during global crises. Panic selling. During wars, markets often crash early. But history shows something fascinating. Many markets recover before wars even end. Why? Because investors price in the future, not the present. Example. During World War II, the U.S. stock market bottomed in 1942. The war didn't end until 1945. Investors who waited for certainty missed massive gains. Final message. The truth is, no one wants a world war. The human cost would be devastating. But understanding how global crises affect economies can help you protect your future. Because history shows, some assets collapse. Some assets survive. Some assets explode. And preparation always beats panic. If you found this breakdown valuable, make sure to subscribe for more videos on money strategy, economic trends, investing during uncertain times, and comment below. What asset do you think would perform best if global war started? Gold? Energy? Crypto? Or something else entirely? I read every comment. And if you want to watch another video that explains how the economy really works behind the scenes, click the video on your screen now. Because understanding money is one of the most powerful skills you can build.